Hey guys, how's it going? If you're watching this video, you're a true fan and a loyal subscriber because it has been a long time since I uploaded anything. But people still ask me what I'm up to and what I'm doing cubing wise, so I just thought I'd give you guys a quick update about what I've been doing and what I've been working on over the past year. So I've been back from Costa Rica. I did my gap year in Costa Rica, and I've been back from there for about a year and a half. And I'm at school right now. I'm at college, working on a bachelor's in biblical studies, and then from there I'm planning to get an MDiv, Master's of Divinity, which is like a seminary degree. So most of my time right now is spent studying and reading and just trying to learn a lot, and it's something that I'm really interested in. So I'm enjoying that, spending time with my family, with my little brothers, playing with them. Life is good, and I'm enjoying it. I haven't been cubing as much, but I have been working on some stuff, which is why I just wanted to make a video today. My college is on the long break because of the pandemic, so I've been on Christmas break for a week already, and I won't go back to school until January 19th. So I thought, why not make a quick video and update you guys on what I've been doing. I'm pretty much done with 3x3. I got as fast as I could. My turning style was garbage. I hated learning algs. I wasn't going to get better at it. So I quit 3x3 a year ago. I was done with it. But this past summer, or really during the quarantine when we were all locked down for 4 months and couldn't leave the house, I just decided that I would start over from step one with my pyraminx style. And since then I have changed absolutely everything about it. So I thought I'd just share with you guys some of what that journey's been like and what I've changed and how it looks now. And you already got a sneak peek at it just a second ago. But let's go ahead and get started and let me show you the things that I've changed. So what all is different between my old style of pyraminx and the one I'm using now? Well, the first thing is I've switched methods. When I started solving pyraminx in about 2011, all of the top solvers were using top-verse methods, which if you don't know what that means, basically means the first few steps are going to get you to a place like this, where everything is solved except for 3 edges on one face, and then you finish with the last layer algorithm. And the general consensus was these methods were more flexible, more efficient, less algorithm dependent than a v-first method. A v-first method basically just means your first step is just this, where you solve one layer minus an edge, and then you're going to finish by solving your last 4 edges in one algorithm. I really agree with this consensus, and because I was so quickly able to figure out intuitive solutions for the top and get more and more efficient solves and better times, I was very convinced that top first was the way to go, and v first was sort of a cheap cop-out, just learning algos to get fast instead of trying to be creative and being good at pyraminx. However, over the last few years, it's been pretty clear that that's not correct. v-first solvers have been getting faster and faster, as well as more efficient and creative with their solutions. And at this point, it's clear that v-first methods are at least as efficient and certainly as fast as top-first methods, probably even more efficient. As I became more and more clear over the past few years, I started to have more and more desire to learn how to use v-first methods and be good with them. And I would try occasionally to do an average of 50 or 100 with just v-first, but it was super discouraging because I would average 4 or 5 seconds, and which is just way worse than my normal averages, and I just felt like I'd have to work for years to be any good at it. But by now it's pretty clear that the pyraminx solvers of the future are going to have to be proficient in both L4E and top first solves. And so over quarantine this past spring and summer, I just decided I was going to bite the bullet and dig in and learn how to solve with L4E. So I did lots of long averages using only L4E, and it was miserable and terrible, and I averaged 5 seconds. Yikes. But the more I practiced, the more I improved, and eventually with just v-first I was down to mid to low 3 seconds, and that's when I started adding in top first solves again. And by now I'm using both about equally. So I'm pretty much completely neutral between v-first solves and top first solves by now. Definitely the biggest change in all of this was changing my turning style. In order to demonstrate why my turning style developed the way it did, I need to switch hardware for a minute. This, my friends, is a Shengshao pyraminx, and this was a top-of-the-line puzzle back when I first became world-class at pyraminx. I won my first world championship on this puzzle, as well as set multiple world records on it, and it got the job done, but here's the thing. It just isn't quite the same as the pyraminxes of today. First of all, this is not how it came. This is a Florian mod. In other words, the holes that allow for reverse corner cutting are sanded onto there. It didn't come that way. And as you can see, it doesn't cut very much at all in either direction. It's quite rigid. The ball bearings click very firmly. Of course, there are no magnets. And all this means that you need to have a very firm grip on it and a very good ability to turn accurately with it in order to get fast times on it. And it was for that reason, mainly, that my turning style developed the way it did. So here's an overview of how I used to turn pyraminx. I had two home grips per se. The first home grip was if I wanted to do R and L turns, I would hold it like this. So thumbs are here, pointer finger's there, and the middle finger's down here. And then these two fingers are doing nothing at all. And I can absolutely spam like that. And then the second grip I had was to hold the top like this with my left hand. And then I could do R and U turns quite quickly and easily. So the advantage of turning this way was that it allowed me to be super accurate and rarely misturn, but the disadvantage is it has tons of regrips. In fact, I was completely unable to do any U-turns with my right hand. I couldn't flick it, and I couldn't do the turning style like this. I just never learned how to do that. And so that meant my left hand was way overworked when I was doing pyraminx solves. The only moves my right hand would do was R, R prime, and then little R, R prime. These three tips, as well as these three layers, were all dominated by my left hand. My right hand did none of that. So the result of that is that I just couldn't do an algorithm very fast. It was an R, L, and U algorithm. 2-gen algorithms, very fast, very easy. 3-gen, pretty much impossible. So I knew that in order to switch to L4E, I would have to change my turning style completely. So I watched a few videos from John Gaynor and Stephen Winteringham and Timon just to see how some of the faster solvers were turning. So back when I started solving pyraminx, people did use flicks, but they always flicked from back here. They reached all the way around to the opposite side and flicked there or else there. But of course I noticed that nowadays people don't tend to turn that way. If they're gonna flick, they're often using their pointer fingers right here. And when they do that, they can also pull backwards the other way. But this required more than just learning to flick with these fingers, which is hard enough in itself. It actually required me to change my home grip. So my home grip from before was like this. But from here, if I try to take my pointer fingers off and flick, you can see that I'm not actually holding the cube anymore, which means that my middle fingers needed to come up to here, and my ring fingers needed to go down there, so that my pointer fingers were now free to flick. That was very uncomfortable, and it took forever to get used to, and I'm still working on it. But after lots and lots of practice, I can now pretty confidently turn with just these two fingers. And this makes my last layer algorithms for top first, as well as my L4E algs, way, 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 way faster. So here's a bad 3-cycle case with my old turning style. And here it is with my new turning style. Oops. Then it comes out in my 2 flips as well. And as you can see, I'm still struggling with lockups and turning accuracy, but my spam TPS is getting higher and higher and higher. The last change I had to make, however, was indeed a change of hardware. My beloved modified Moyu pyraminx, which was my main for a solid 4 years, has officially retired. So which pyraminx am I using now? Well, I have 4 that I've been sort of bouncing between. I think there's 3 things that pretty much define how good a pyraminx is for me. One is how much the edges can flex left to right like this. The other one is how much corner cutting it has, in particular forward corner cutting. And then the last one is the magnet strength. So the Mr. M for me definitely wins on the magnet strength and the flexibility test. It's not very flexy at all, and the magnet strength is perfect. It has great speed. I can turn super accurately. So I've got 2 of those. One of them is one that I set up, which is this one. I've been using it for a while. I think it's my main right now. And I also just got this one from Stephen Winteringham the other day, who sent it to me. He, of course, sets up Mr. M pyraminxes and sells them. And this one's super good too, but I just need to play with it some more and see if I like it. So. But here we also have the Gan pyraminx and then the Bell V2 pyraminx. I really like these, but I just don't think they quite measure up. In particular, the Gan has way too much flex in this edge. Like, look how much that can move. And that's even with the mod that Steven came up with the washers in there to keep it more tight than it should be. So it's good, it's fast, and it's light. I like how it feels, but I just can't get over how flexible the pieces are. The Bell is super interesting and good. My main problem with it is that the magnets just aren't strong enough or something, and I overshoot on it all the time. And it just, I don't know, it just doesn't really work for me. It's just strange. It's okay, but it's not my favorite. So for now, I think I'm going to stick with the Mr. M unless my opinions change. And I'm still really messing around with all of these pyraminxes. So those are the big changes I've made in my pyraminx solves. I've changed my method completely. I've changed my turning style completely, and I've changed the puzzle that I use, and I've been using the same one for 3 years. So I think that's pretty much everything about how I solve pyraminx is now different. So what kind of progress have I made? Some, but not enough yet. So on a good day right now, I'm averaging about 2.9, which is good considering that I started out averaging like 4.5 with this turning style. But I mean, at my best with my old turning style, I was averaging about 2.6. So I've still got a ways to go. I'm going to show you some solves in a minute, and you'll see there's still lots of room to improve. I want to work on my turning accuracy as well as my solution finding. I want to learn some new strategy stuff for top first methods. There's a lot I want to work on, and I don't know if I'll ever get to it or not. You know, I might just sort of keep this as something in my back pocket that's fun to do, but it isn't my main thing anymore, that's for sure. Anyways, thank you guys for watching, and enjoy these next few solves. Hope it was interesting for you to sort of catch up on what I've been doing and see how I've just made some pretty drastic changes with my pyramid solving. So I'll see you next time.